Welcome to the 30 August Faroese News Report.
So, what do we have for you today? In the news, we're looking at a big surge in popularity for Bjørn Johannesson, Danish scrutiny of Russian trawlers, and some new government advisories. Plus, we'll cover the historic apology for Greenland's spiral scandal. After that, we'll switch over to the opinion section, digging into the debate on fishing ties with Russia and the political fallout from that very apology. Let's get right into it.
All right, first up, there's a pretty significant shift happening in the political landscape. A brand new poll shows that Folkeflokkeren party leader Bjørn Johannesson is gaining some serious traction. And the number to watch here is 33.6%. That's the share of voters who now back Bjørn Johannesson for prime minister. It's a new personal best for him, and it shows that a solid third of the electorate is now behind his leadership.
What's really interesting here is that this support is highly personal. At 33.6%, Johannesson is now actually polling higher than his own party. And while it's a really strong showing, just for context, he's still chasing that 39% peak his uncle, Axel V. Johannesson, hit back in 2022.
Next, we're going to turn to an issue of national security. After a lot of questions were raised about Russian vessels in Faroese waters, Danish authorities have now come forward with an official response. You know, this didn't just come out of the blue. It all started back in June, when MP Sjordur Skaale began asking official questions about these Russian ships. By July, that led to direct surveillance of a specific trawler, the Melkart II, in Klaksvik. And now, in August, we finally have the official word from Danish Justice Minister Peter Hummelgaard.
And the surveillance on the Melkart II was, well, it was comprehensive. We're talking about a Danish inspection vessel following and photographing it on the water, a Danish military aircraft doing the same from the air, and even Faroese police on the ground conducting passport checks on the crew. This statement from Danish Justice Minister Peter Hummelgaard really sums up the whole official position perfectly. He said, "There should be no doubt that the Faroe Islands' security is also the kingdom's security. It's a very clear signal that potential threats are being taken very seriously at the highest levels."
So, as these security concerns are being addressed, the government also issued two key advisories this week. The first one deals with national preparedness, while the second launches an inquiry into the economic side of immigration.
First up, the Ministry of Justice, pointing to the changing geopolitical situation, has put out a new advisory for all citizens about being prepared at home.
The main recommendation is for every household to be self-sufficient for 3 days. This means having all the essentials on hand to manage without any outside help, from food and medicine to a little bit of cash and a way to stay connected.
Okay, now for that second government action. A formal inquiry has officially been launched to really understand the full economic impact of immigration on the Faroe Islands.
This was all kicked off by some questions from MP Idis Hartmann Nicholson to the Minister of Finance. The inquiry is looking for answers to 3 specific things. What are the administrative costs for issuing work permits? What are the state and municipal costs tied to family reunification? And finally, the big one, what is the overall net economic impact?
Now, to a major story coming out of Greenland, where Denmark has issued a formal and very long-awaited apology for the forced contraception campaign known as the spiral scandal.
For anyone who might be unfamiliar with this dark chapter, the spiral scandal refers to a period from 1966 to 1975 when Danish authorities ran a campaign to reduce population growth in Greenland. It involved placing IUDs, or spirals, in thousands of Greenlandic girls and women, many of whom were just children and did not give their consent. The reaction from Mute B. Egede, the former Naalakkersuisut chairman who was so key in bringing this to light, was immediate. He said, "Finally, after a long wait, the Danish state acknowledges its misdeeds." But he was very quick to add, this is not the end of the matter, only a step on the way.
For Igede, this apology is just the first step. He is absolutely firm that it must be followed by financial compensation for the victims. It's also worth noting that he personally continues to refer to the campaign as an act of genocide.
Okay, so that covers the news. Now let's jump into the opinion section, starting with a strong argument from MP Stefan Klein Poulsen against expanding sanctions on Russian fishing companies.
Poulsen builds his case on 3 main points. First, he argues there's simply been no proof of actual sabotage or espionage by these companies. Second, he says ending this cooperation poses a direct economic threat to Faroese jobs and the Russian market. And third, he frames the agreement as being about food resources, not about helping a war machine.
Paulson draws a really sharp line with this distinction, saying, for me, there is a difference between selling technology to Russia and giving the Russians a mackerel or a blue whiting that the ordinary Russian processes and serves to their family.
And finally today, we're returning to the spiral scandal apology to look at the political fallout in Greenland, where there are now dual apologies from both Denmark and Greenland's own government.
But not everyone was satisfied. MP Aki Matilda Høeg Dam of the Nalirak Party expressed deep disappointment with Greenland's government for issuing its own apology, saying, "To apologize for something you did not initiate yourself, that is a disappointment to say the least."
So we're seeing two very distinct viewpoints emerge. On one side, you've got Aki Matilda Høeg Dam, who argues that Greenland's apology is misplaced and that Denmark, as the initiating colonial power, bears full responsibility. But on the other side, Aja Chemnitz of the IA party believes the focus must now shift entirely to getting practical results, financial compensation, and redress for the women who were affected.
Like and subscribe to PAL's Fundamentals for more content like this. Sources linked below.